Welcoming my outstanding new colleagues, the new Chief Secretary to the Treasury, the Right Honourable Member for Sevenoaks, who will brilliantly solve the problem of how we stop the state expanding, building on the work of her wonderful predecessor, the Right Honourable Member for Salisbury, the new Economic Secretary to the Treasury, the Honourable Member for Hitchin and Harpenden, who will single-handedly ensure the city and stock market remain competitive, building on the superb foundations laid by his predecessor, the Honourable Member for Arundel and South Downs, and the new Financial Secretary to the Treasury, the Member for Mid Worcestershire, whose job will be to work out how to bring taxes down, following in the footsteps of his excellent predecessor, who as Health Secretary will no doubt be trying to push them up.
Question 8, Mr Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Secretary of State for Defence and my predecessor, the Honourable Member for Arundel and South Downs, recently set out that the values within ESG practices of financial institutions should never undermine capabilities developed to help us preserve peace and security. The Treasury recently consulted on a potential regulatory framework for ESG ratings providers, which aims to improve transparency and promote good conduct. I hope that this will address some of the issues which defence companies have raised.
Thanks, Understaff.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr Speaker. ESG is so vital when it comes to investing in all our services, including defence. But we were promised the Greening Financial Roadmap would come out end of 2022. Then we were told that the consultation will come up by autumn this year. It's still autumn, well, just about autumn. It's still to come out. Why is this government kicking ESG down the road? Why has it stopped caring about ESG? And when will we have the consultation to get a UK green taxonomy sorted?
Minister.
I thank my honourable friend for his question, and it's important to put on the record. I do. He cares. I know how much he cares about these issues and campaigns on them frequently in this House, and I commend him for it. The government is committed to delivering on a UK green taxonomy to provide investors clarity on which economic activity should be labelled as green. Now, we expect to consult this autumn, and the green taxonomy will provide an important tool for enabling the supply of relevant and reliable sustainability information for the market, and information will come in due course.
We know. Jim Shannon.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Minister, one of the things that probably concerns us as Northern Ireland MPs is the fact when it comes to defence jobs and getting the contracts, Northern Ireland falls behind. The Minister will be aware that Talis, on the border of my constituency, was recently able to secure their workforce. So what steps can the Minister take to ensure that each region of the United Kingdom, especially Northern Ireland, can benefit from defence spending from their workforce? We can do the job the same as everywhere else. We just need the opportunity. Thank you.
Minister.
I thank the honourable member for his question, and it's an incredibly important one because, as he knows, this government is absolutely committed to ensuring that those jobs in the defence sector, within the framework of an ESG framework, are protected. And I'm very happy to meet and discuss with him further the issues relating to his constituency and indeed Northern Ireland.
Number 16, Mr Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The path to lower mortgage rates, as everybody in this House knows, is through lower inflation, which is why the Prime Minister and the Chancellor made halving inflation one of our 5 priorities for this year, and the latest Bank of England forecast shows that we are on track for that. In June, lenders representing over 90% of the mortgage market agreed to our new mortgage charter, which includes new flexibilities to help customers manage their repayments, backed up by UK Finance's advertising campaign, encouraging anyone worried about their repayments to contact their lender.
Nick Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does the Minister agree with me the best way we can help the next generation of homeowners is to increase the supply of homes, is to bring back the Save to Buy ISA, and to stop the 35-year mortgages and shared ownership models, which only increases house prices?
Yes. Minister.
I thank my honourable friend for that question. On his first point, we are increasing the number of homes, and we are optimistic that we will reach our target to deliver 1 million new homes over this Parliament. Secondly, on the Help to Buy ISA, it was closed to new accounts in 2019, but existing holders can continue to save into their accounts. And on his third point about stopping 35-year mortgages and things, actually, it's important to have choice in the market, and it's important for people to make those choices for themselves. And we commit, as a government, we're committed to supporting people for doing just that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. According to the Centre for Economics and Business Research, mortgage increases are expected to cost UK households £9 billion this year and next. How on earth does the government defend that?
Minister.
Well, as the honourable member knows, the reason why we're in this position, this is a global phenomenon. We are doing what we can. We're working closely with the Bank of England. And over time, due to the policies of the Chancellor and the Prime Minister in this government, interest rates will come down.
The truth is that working people are paying the price for the Conservatives crashing the economy last autumn. Does the Minister think that is fair?
Minister.
I thank the Shadow Minister for his kind words, at least in relation to me. In relation to the point he makes, that it is important to recognise that if you look at the Eurozone, the United States and the UK, broadly similar increases have happened in inflation and in interest rates. And we as a government are confident that our policies will bring this down in due course.
Right.
Number 19, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The government's mortgage charter is providing support to vulnerable households, and arrears and repossessions remain at historic lows. Government support has helped real household incomes rise by 2.7% year on year in the latest data.
Thank the Minister for his answer and for that reply. But with the economy flatlining and interest rates remaining at 5.25% and more than likely to remain above 5% next year, it simply follows that households' disposable incomes are going to continue to be squeezed throughout 2024. Surely the Chancellor agrees that mortgage interest tax relief must be reintroduced to support households who are facing high interest rates alongside inflation.
I thank the honourable member, but as he's already heard from the Chancellor already, the economy is still growing, and the latest labour market data shows that incomes are going up at a higher rate than inflation. So I do not recognise the picture that he paints.
Dame Pritchett.
Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you. As my right honourable friend knows, the government is committed to supporting economic growth all over the country, but particularly in the wonderful county of Essex. The recently announced £1.1 billion long-term plans for towns will provide £20 million, for example, of flexible funding over 10 years to Clacton, and there are many other measures.
Dame Pritchett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome my honourable friend to his new role. And I hope he will know that not only is the only way is Essex, but Essex is a net contributor to the Treasury. And so we want more economic growth in Essex. And of course, may I put a message to the Treasury front bench? In a week's time, we'll have the autumn statement. May I appeal to the Chancellor in particular to look at lowering the rates of personal as well as business taxation, particularly in the areas of business rates and corporation tax and all aspects to do with enabling people to keep more of the money that they earn.
My right honourable friend tempts me to make tax policy, but what I will say to her, she will know, is that the Chancellor always keeps these things under review, as does the government, and indeed we have a fiscal event shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Banks are taking advantage of higher interest rates to make bumper profits, and a new poll shows people have had enough, with big support for a one-off windfall tax on bank profits. Yet this government has chosen to slash the surcharge on bank profits. So isn't it time for a windfall tax on excess bank profits to help people who are hit hard by this crisis?
Minister.
I thank the honourable member. There are two things I'd say in response to that. The first is that it's important when we talk about banks that we have to have a globally, broadly competitive tax regime, and we do not apologise for that in the Treasury. But secondly, he should bear in mind that the reduction he talked about in terms of the levy on banks was offset by a rise in corporation tax as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. More than 3 million households in the UK owe an estimated £2.7 billion in the unregulated, buy now, pay later sector. The Labour Party has set out plans for urgent regulation of this sector. So can the Minister confirm when the government will do the same?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is a complicated area of regulation. We are looking at it very closely. The consultation closed in April and we're working on it because it's very, very important that we get it right, but I hear her concerns and indeed will update the House in due course.